Be thou my vision, O Lord of my heart, not be all else to me, save that thou art. Thou my best thought by day or by night, waking or sleeping, thy presence, my love.
Idolize brought me to a greater recognition of where my dependency truly lies. I feel like the Holy Spirit revealed to me that I need to have short accounts in my life as to where those dependencies are. Am I trusting God or am I trusting my own systems?
Idols cannot be removed. They can only be replaced. Because remember, our souls are like swirling whirlpools. We were created to worship, and we will worship something. Jesus tells a story of an unclean spirit that left a man and looked back and saw the house empty and swept, and so he went and got 7 spirits more evil than itself, so that the latter state of the man was worse than the first. We can't keep evil spirits out when our souls are empty. So many women said, "Oh, you know what I did? I exchanged an idol for an idol." When we try to win this battle in the flesh, we fail. Andrew Murray said, "The flesh cannot cast out the flesh. Beelzebub cannot cast out Beelzebub." And oh, the tumult of Romans 7, where Paul cries, "I do not do what I want to do. I do the very thing I hate." What do we need? We need a power from on high to rescue us, to come and live in us, to tear out by the roots the idols that have wedged into our hearts. And we have that power in Jesus Christ. No place is this clearer than in the women's prisons. You're going to see a clip in a moment from Carla Faye Tucker, the first woman executed in Texas in 100 years. She became known as the pickaxe murderer. And when I see videos of Carla before Christ, it is almost like she's dead. She's so dark. But the woman you're going to see in this video is like a radiant bride. She met the one who could change her. Let's see this video from Carla.
1983, when I was in the county jail, I got arrested for 2 counts of capital murder. And about 3 months after I was in the county jail, a ministry came in there. And they were doing a service one night in the chapel. And I ended up going to the chapel. I had not gone to church before that, didn't want to go. I thought I would go that night and just socialize in church, which is what a lot of people in here do. They go for the wrong reasons. So I always tell people, don't worry about it. If they go for the wrong reasons, just let God take care of that. You never know when He can get hold of somebody's heart. They can walk out for the right reasons. So I went to church that night, and when I walked through the door, at that time I didn't know what it was, but I know now that it was the presence of God in that room from those people. And I walked through there and my mouth just kind of dropped down. And I felt something that I had never felt before. And I sat down, and the ministry came through the back door, and they were going to start the services. And I remember looking at them, and I don't know how I knew they had been where I was at, but inside I knew that there were people who had been in jails, in prisons, and been in the prostitution and drugs and violence. And I remember thinking, I want to feel what they're feeling, I want to, they just glowed. They had a peace and a joy and something that was real, and I had never seen that in anybody. And I just thought to myself, I want to feel that. I want to know what they know, and feel what they feel. And so that night, whenever the service was over, I went to this table and I snuck this Bible. I was not aware that they gave Bibles out free in here to help the people in here. So I thought I was stealing this Bible, and I took it to my cell that I was in, and I got way up in the corner, and I hid in the corner because I didn't want anybody to know that I was doing this, what I considered this weak thing. So I hid way back in the corner of my cell, and I opened up this Bible, and I started reading it. I don't know what I turned to, and I didn't understand what I was reading. And I don't know how long it took, but I know that before I knew it, I was in the middle of the floor, and I was down on my knees, and I was crying, and I was asking God to come into my heart and to forgive me for what I had done. And I don't even know that I felt forgiven at that point, but I know that I felt loved. It was like God just completely wrapped me up in a cocoon of love. And I knew that no matter what I had done, I was loved, just like that, just like I was. And at that point, the whole weight of what I had done fell on me. I realized for the first time that I had brutally murdered 2 people, and that there were people out there hurting because of me. And yet, God was sitting there saying, I love you. When the Lord got hold of my life that night that I shared about, and He poured His love out on me, to realize that I could be loved unconditionally after I had done something that horrible, God used His unconditional love and His forgiveness to, it's supernatural. I don't really know how to explain it, but at that moment, especially the violence, it's just like He reached down inside of me and He just ripped up from the very roots all of that and took it out of me and poured Himself into me. And at that point, I knew that I had to tell the truth about everything. A lot of people, when they're in here and when things are going on, and I know that before I knew the Lord, this was certainly held very true, I didn't want to tell what had happened for fear for my life, for fear of what the consequences would be. And I didn't care. I mean, quite frankly, I didn't care about anybody else. I didn't care what anybody else felt, thought, or anything. But when the Lord came into my life and changed that, I realized that I couldn't count the cost to my own life, that I had to tell the truth about everything. And that freed me up because I wasn't fearful of what Satan could do to me through truth, because the truth is meant to set you free. And that, we could apply that principle and that truth to so many areas of our lives. But certainly in that area of my life, the truth set me free, literally and emotionally and physically and in every other way. I was not fearful of what man could do to me. I was fearful of what God could do to me if I didn't tell the truth. And that's far more serious because we're dealing with eternity.
You have reached the end of the first half of Lesson 7. Please proceed to the proper link as Dee concludes her message, Why We Can't Just Say No.